All right. Now, this is by far my most anticipated panel of the entire year, 12 years. I've never wanted anything more than this, is crafting. And how they did it is pretty damn close to what I would have wanted. So I'm really happy with what I've seen. But because I was running the stream and all that stuff, I missed a lot. So I am looking forward to stopping and pausing and thinking and chatting and discussing all the crafting things. I'm so hyped. Here we go. I love this guy too. He's so nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Jared. And thank you, Citizencon. It is an honor to be here. Yesterday,
this might be a 12-hour react. Strap in.
We shared new tech, locations, creatures, giant worm, social features, things we're doing with orgs. We even played the first chapter of Squadron 42 live. How great was that?
Yeah.
A few minor glitches, but nothing we can't sort out.
Thank you, Sib. I'm gonna.
So today, we got something just as exciting to
I'm gonna turn off the sounds because I don't think they're disconnected from the videos right now.
We want to show you the world that you can build. With
so thank you so much,
Siv.
Give
you the tools to create your own loot.
He's a bit quiet. Gotcha.
To build your own home.
He is a bit quiet.
Crafting will fundamentally change not only how you play the game, but why you play the game.
Am I committed to what? Somebody said, "Are you committed to it, Mike?" I'm married, dude. All right.
So, what is crafting? Why does it matter? Why should you be as excited as I am about
12-hour react. No,
well,
I'm married.
First off,
she won't let me, probably.
It requires its own set of tools, the knowledge of how to use them. Crafting offers progression. You become a better crafter by learning new blueprints and upgrading them. Crafting builds on the existing gathering professions.
Oh, face cam covering. Oh, shit.
When you
this is
go
the thing
out
that
and
I lost.
collect
I have
your
to
materials
manually
for
move
crafting,
myself.
We are adding new depth and meaning to those activities. Crafting provides customization. There isn't just one way to craft something. Like I said, we have upgrades. How you make and upgrade the things you craft is sometimes just as important as what you're crafting. In addition, you can earn cosmetic upgrades.
By the way, this is just the intro. None of this shit really matters. They go really deep into it.
Craft unique items. Even subscriber flare?
Everyone ignored that, by the way. Like, I think people caught on to it, but didn't. There was so much other stuff that nobody really realized that he said that or remembered that he said that. Or nobody gives a shit. You might care once they start dialing in the that armor system. I got a funny feeling some of these helmets, some of these chests, some of these armors are going to be they might be more powerful than your average stuff. That's my guess. You're going to be able to craft sub-flare. You're going to be able to craft sub-flare. Also, one thing that was conveniently omitted from this was crafting paints, because they clearly want to be selling them, right?
But nowhere is this versatility more obvious than base building. We're going to have nearly limitless options for how you construct your home, how to customize your base to meet your own goals. Most importantly, crafting gives you a lot of new choices. The choices
I don't
will
mind it
impact
either.
your goals in the game, your interactions with other players, and eventually how you see the game itself. So where do we get started with crafting?
Yeah, I'm not saying the paints thing in a negative way.
Well, you can't craft without materials.
Nope.
Luckily, we've got a lot of ways to gather resources in the game.
I would like to remind everybody that in 2015, Chris Roberts wrote on Spectrum that we would not have traditional MMO crafting in this game. And I looked at it and I said, well, we have materials, so what the fuck do we do with them? How do we not have crafting? And I got shit on. I got absolutely dumped on by this community. Absolutely dumped on by this community because Chris Roberts said so, and he knows better. You know what? I saw the Squadron 42 trailer, and he does know better about some stuff. I'm not entirely sure. He was a part of UO, though, that Chris is as dialed into something like an MMO that he is dialed to something like a single-player campaign like Squadron 42, right? And I'm glad that he listened to his community or other people around him and guys like Rich and even Todd Pappy, because we've known this crafting thing was coming when Todd was around, that he listened to people that he's hired and let them do their thing. And that's one thing that I'm noticing throughout all this. You got this Rich Porter guy coming on. You got Rich Tyra guy coming on. You got all these devs standing in front of Chris, and Chris kind of just sitting in the background and letting them do their thing. Is the vibe that I'm getting from this. I'm sure he's got his little fingers and everything, but for the most part, he seems to be taking more of a step back and letting devs do what they do. And that is kind of what this year feels like a little bit.
And crafting is designed to complement and expand on all of these existing gathering professions, as well as future additions.
I don't think he always did that, right?
Let's take a closer look at mining as an
Malarkey, thank
example.
you. Thank you for your prime. Appreciate you.
We've got hand mining and vehicle mining and ship mining. That's a lot of mining. But with crafting, we're going to introduce a lot of materials. So there's not just more to mine, but we're also going to specialize. So for instance, each type of mining will have its own unique materials to gather. Gathering specific materials efficiently will require you to use the right gathering profession. Let's talk about refining. Currently, only mining resources can be refined.
Refining was the biggest surprise to me. Refining is crafting now.
But doing so allows you to turn them into more valuable processed resources. With crafting, we're going to expand refining to include options for all raw materials. In addition to expanding the variety of materials you can gather, refining lets you create processed materials that you're going to need to craft your upgraded blueprints.
It's okay, Sharp. I accept.
So now that you've gathered all these materials, what do you do with them? Currently, your only options in the game really are to sell them to a shop or maybe complete a contract.
Boring.
Adding crafting into the game radically changes your options. You can still mine, refine, and sell your resources, but now you have the option to make valuable and unique items.
Fuck yeah.
Weapons, armor, even vehicles and ships. Right?
Wait for applause.
And by valuable, I mean that the crafted gear that you create has the potential to be better than anything you can buy in a shop.
Well, there was the Mystic Expanse since a long time ago. Yeah, but the Mystic Expanse, they kind of explained what refining was, and it was strictly refining the way that we refine ore at a station, but on a ship. Right? This, you'll see, is totally different than that.
But crafting just doesn't end with shiny new gear. Think much bigger. Crafting enables you to build your own home among the stars. You choose to make a farm, a hunting lodge, an industrial complex, your own trading hub, a military outpost, even a sprawling town with your friends and org mates.
Woo!
Got a lot here, but it's all optional. You can choose to focus on gathering resources and sell them to crafters that need them. You can skip gathering and refining and just focus on being the best crafter you can be.
I gotta say, one of the things I want to dial into is like the marketplace style gameplay, because I know they mentioned it, but it was very casually, and I just didn't catch it, you know?
Or you can leave all that gathering and crafting nonsense to other people and just focus on trade and make some money.
Thank you, Spark.
That brings me to my last point.
95 months. Thank you.
Player
And tier
choice
2.
matters. When a player makes a choice, they assign value. Players' choices about crafting and base building will drive player trade. The community's choices will determine the value of the materials and the crafted goods you can all make. The game will still have its own shops and economy alongside players, but now you'll have more options. about where you invest and how you prosper. Now, I've given you a nice overview of what we're working on here.
That's what I'm thinking, Hudson.
And we have a lot more planned for the future. But now that you're familiar with the big picture, I want to introduce some of my fellow developers to come up on stage. They've got exciting details to share with you about the specifics of our new crafting systems.
Yeah, so he's given us the overview. Now we go into the specifics.
Important
this is the good
gameplay
stuff.
improvements, and most exciting, I think anyway, an update to base building. To start things off, please welcome Jacob Taylor to the stage.
Now, we start out with Jacob first. Jacob basically sets up Torsten.
Thank you, Rick. And hello, Citizencon. Hi, I'm Jacob, Senior Gameplay Programmer on Crafting.
By the way, this guy has a fucking twin in the United States. This dude, I was super nice, good, like really good friends with him. He was one of the only nice professional poker players that ever came into my casino. They are legit. They are literally twins.
Rick has showed us how crafting will link into a lot of existing and new gameplay. But I think it's time we get into some of the details. I'm going to tell you about the new game mechanics we're introducing, starting with blueprints.
Yeah, his name was Eric, not Jacob. All right, blueprints. Let's go.
Before you can craft anything, you'll need a blueprint. Blueprints provide the recipe to perform all kinds of crafting processes, including refining.
Yep.
You can acquire blueprints through various activities.
Because refining now isn't taking raw iron and making it refined iron. It's a lot more than that.
Some you can buy, some you can find, and some can be unlocked or earned in other ways. You can also upgrade your blueprints through research. We'll go into more detail about what this means a bit later. So, blueprints are the recipe, and Rick already told us the materials you gather and refine will be the ingredients. But there's a bit more to it than that. We have a new concept for materials, material quality.
I don't think people realize how game-changing this actually is, and causes a lot of cascading effects that actually make the game a reality versus super casual.
Quality is a property we're adding to all
Yeah, this feature alone will drive the entire game,
resources you can gather.
PvP-wise at least, I think.
That's an abstract measurement of how good it is at being whatever it is. You can think of this as the purity of a metal, or the ripeness of a fruit, or something along those lines. This quality will be carried forward from raw resources through the refining process to influence what that batch of materials is best used for in crafting. High quality is more desirable overall, but is more rare, and there are still important uses for low-quality materials. More on that later. All raw materials you find in the verse will
And there is use for low-quality material, more on that later, was like a literal 3-second explanation. So I'll pause it and we'll talk about it because you may have missed it. Move cam. So you can read the same text that they're reading off the screen? I'm not going to be constantly moving my camera. I will give you the link to the video and you can watch it yourself. There.
have a quality rating that's generated based on some rules. The same kind of rules you heard about from the Planet Tech team yesterday. You'll find the same material in many places, but with varying qualities, so you might want to explore to find the best. Some materials that are already rare will be
DVD
even more
logo
valuable
camera.
if you can find them with high quality.
Yeah, so like rare materials with high quality are just going to be bonkers.
But what's quality for?
What is it for?
It's for item stats. Alongside quality, we're introducing a new item stats system to the game.
There. Modifiable properties, damage, armor handling, wear, resistance, and more. Provide customization, progression. Fine-tune your gear to fit your play style. Done. All right. So solid is not solid aluminum. I think solid is the type of material that's going in. I believe we saw solid refineries and gas refineries and liquid refineries. So solid is a descriptor of the type of material that it is. So keep that in mind. The quality is average. Where do you see the average quality part? I'm not seeing that. It's because it's a 2 and a 4. Oh, the bottom. Yeah, 900 quality and 500 quality. 600 quality, 224 quality, 345, 446. And you're almost never going to have like a best in slot. Look at the tabs. Customization. Oh. Yeah. Crafting. What is this one? Just materials? Okay. Burke said no cam, he knows. Yeah, it's different when you're streaming. Like, this is going to get put up on YouTube.
This will allow relevant properties of craftable items to be affected by the quality of materials used to craft them. For resources, just a single quality rating is
What matters, the text or the image? I'm going to go with the image.
sufficient to provide variation. But craftable items have such diverse purposes that we need a more detailed system to provide both progression and customization options. We aim to have meaningful item stats for all craftable items, but some examples would be the damage and fire rate of a gun, the wear resistance of a ship component, or even the satiation provided by eating a hot dog.
Yeah, it went from 100 nutrition to 187%.
So, as I said, the quality of materials will directly affect the item stats, such that higher quality results in better stats. Most items require multiple different materials to make, which may each influence different stats. And in many cases, you'll have a choice of materials to use, which lets you decide which stats to focus on to tailor your items to your playstyle. Here,
Interesting. So let's take that into consideration here, where aluminum lowers the weight and increases integrity. But if I chose titanium, it would raise the weight and do something else. Maybe it would lower misfire chance or change heat per shot or something like that. Whereas maybe I need, that's kind of what he's implying here, is that I need one type of metal, one type of plastic, copper, and hadonite or something. I don't know. So that's what it sounds like, is that I'm able to build this weapon with different materials to raise the bullet velocity, perhaps, as my priority.
as I said, the quality of materials will directly affect the
Is the quality 1 to 100%? No, I'm seeing 901 quality, so it might be 1 to 1,000.
item stats, such that higher quality results in better stats.
Oh, yeah, and if you look, the average of 901 and 544 is 722. And that's how they come up with the accumulated quality. And the average of 608 and 224 is probably 345. It's kind of cool. And then the crafting time is 20 minutes. I wouldn't look into that too much. These are PowerPoints. Chill.
Most items require multiple different materials to make, which may each influence different stats. And in many cases, you'll have a choice of materials to use, which lets you decide which stats to focus on to tailor your items to your playstyle.
20 minutes
Here we
before
see
guns.
I'm making a gun with high-quality aluminium,
Gotcha.
giving me a nice bonus to integrity and weight. But someone sold me low-quality copper, so I don't get as much fire rate bonus as I could have. To go even further, researching your fabrication blueprints allows you to build higher tiers of an item with improved base stats. So a higher tier item will be better than a lower tier item that was made with materials of the same quality. Making high tier items requires more advanced materials, but is also how you access
Chat,
greater
I'm buying
choice
999
as to which stats to
quality
improve.
copper. How much?
This means that your high-tier items can not only be better overall, but also more specialized in the areas that are important to you. Most items will have tiers 1 to 3, with tier 1 being the most basic version of the item, and tier 3 being a highly advanced version made with appropriately impressive materials.
So it looks to me that the upgrade is a standard base upgrade. Like, you're going to always have the same base numbers, but the base numbers will automatically be tweaked based on the materials that you used on the original gun, and the materials that you use for the upgrade will also be tweaked. But there's always from tier 1 to tier 2, you have base stats, I think, but then they're all defined by the type and quality of material that you use. So everyone's weapon, everyone's items are going to be different. Like, you're rarely going to have the exact same items as somebody else. They're always going to be slightly different. It's kind of weird and
you
cool.
can also craft vehicles. And vehicles are so important that they will go up to tier 5, providing a way
Yes, of course. Vehicles are so important because they fund the entire game.
for you to really invest in making your favorite vehicles excel. Of course, many of you have already bought your favorite vehicles, so you don't really need to make them from scratch, right? Or maybe you've pirated, salvaged, or otherwise commandeered a vehicle. Not to worry, you can still benefit from crafting by using an upgrade blueprint to increase the tier of an existing vehicle.
Imagine only having a store tier ship, right? Imagine only having a store tier ship.
Including...
What if store tier is tier 3? I would cry.
including the usual stat improvements and customization. Upgrading a vehicle can save a lot of time over crafting it from scratch, so it's a convenient way for established vehicle owners to bring the benefits of item stats to their fleet. Let's take a look in-game at the difference it makes to have high-tier equipment made from high-quality materials.
This is wild. By the way, the P4AR does not fire like this normally, does it? I feel like this is an exaggerated example.
See how the recoil is reduced on our high-tier gun. The spooling is faster on a high-tier quantum drive.
This is crazy.
And a high-tier scraper beam is much more effective.
Bro, this guy's got 0 SCU and this guy got 0.1 SCU. What are you wooing in chat for?
So, that's an overview of crafting's key game mechanics. I'll now hand over to Torsten to walk you through the full crafting process.
Now is when it gets good. You thought that was good? Now it gets good.
Thank you, and have a good day.
10% faster, still faster. I know, I'm just trolling. It's just 0.1 SCU is such a funny number to lose your mind over.
Thank you, Jacob. Hi, I'm Thorsten, lead system designer of the CGP system design team.
He's the man. Did I end up crying? No.
We now saw all elements of crafting looked at individually. Let's bring them in order how you, as the player, will experience the crafting profession. You will start with acquiring the correct blueprints as the first step in the crafting process. As Jacob already mentioned, blueprints can be acquired in multiple ways. Let me give you some examples here. You can purchase commonly available blueprints, earn them from reputation and mission rewards, or even find them in loot crates. All content in our game could reward you with a blueprint.
Yes, that's cool. And what comes next, I think, is cool as well.
Some blueprints will be challenging to find, so players working together may find them easier to acquire. While you may find a blueprint on a datapad or other portable device, the blueprint itself is not a physical item. You don't collect them in a box or stack them on a bookshelf. Blueprints are digital. Once you claim one, it is permanently added to your personal library.
Once you claim them, right? Once you claim them, they are. Now, I gotta say, 4.0, I'm walking around the Ghost arena, and I picked up two things that look like that data pad. They don't have a screen like that, but they're the size of a data pad. Were those blueprints? Were those keys? I have no idea what those were. I had small keys, and then I had these giant data pads or comp boards or something. I don't know what they were, but they had a number on them. So I don't know. But the idea of you having a physical item with a blueprint on it means if I already have, let's say, 5 cutlass, let's say my org is a mining org, which it is, and we're constantly spitting out prospectors. Maybe I have 5 prospector blueprints. If I find a 6th, I don't need 6. I keep it on the data pad. I could sell it. Now, I see it in chat from Amarana. My only thing that I saw that they missed here that I think is an actual miss is BPO versus BPCs from Eve. So BPO is Blueprint Original. Blueprint Originals have no limit to how many times you can use them. BPCs are a copy, blueprint copy, of a BPO. And they have limits to how many times you can use them. Everything is a BPO in Star Citizen. I like the idea of BPCs because as somebody who is new to Eve, I'm able to engage in higher tier crafting than I normally would because I can't afford the original blueprint. So it allows me to get into it, right? And it allows people who own the BPO to continue to make money on that without even having to craft the item, which is kind of cool. It's just a nice little wrinkle on it. I would love to see that in this game.
This library is persistent to your character, and every blueprint you claim is yours forever. They cannot be stolen or traded once claimed. But it does not just end with acquiring blueprints. Those tiers of quality that Jacob mentioned are unlocked through blueprint research.
How do you find BPOs? Just to be clear, that's not a Star Citizen thing. So if you're asking Eve advice, now's not going to be the time. Maybe somebody in Twitch chat will help you. But for Star Citizen, everything's a BPO. So you find it, like he was saying, dungeons, raids, in a container, mission rewards, all sorts of things. Basically, everything you do, you have a chance to find a blueprint. So just call them a blueprint because there's no original and copy in Star Citizen.
Research requires a research data bank, which can upgrade your blueprints. Upgrading here means that you unlock a blueprint that allows you to create a better, higher
So he said requires a research data bank. That's another thing that you would have to craft. That's another station that you would have to power. That's another thing that you would have to have at your base. Maybe you would have to have a whole research base of these things, researching all of your blueprints, trying to get them to the max capacity.
Tier version of the same item using more advanced materials. Note, you will still have access to the lower tier versions if you want to craft the cheaper version. In order to upgrade a blueprint, you may need to perform certain actions. In this example, we need to craft 100-volt pistols.
This is very
and have
important.
one with a higher fire rate. Other examples would...
Okay, so let's pause here. This is super duper duper important. Researching is not done offline. In Eve, it is done offline. Research, you spend money, and it just happens. Right? Now, it is done offline because look at the research time. But it's not just done offline. You actually have to actively do this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't necessarily like this. Here's why. I want a higher tier Volt pistol because I really like the Volt pistol. So I have to waste materials for 100-volt pistols to upgrade my Volt pistol. Right? That's the only thing that I don't like about it is the idea of wasting and recycling. Just buy it from someone else. So it's still wasteful, right? It's either wasting money, it's wasting material, it's wasteful in some way. Now, what would I do in this situation? Well, we saw the Volt pistol was crafted by what? 3 or 4 aluminum, 3 or 4 copper, some hadanite, and plastic. I would just use all the lowest quality materials on this, on my research, right? Because it just says craft 100. It doesn't say craft of a certain value. Now, it does say craft with over 1100 fire rate. That would mean that I would need to put in some extra copper, like extra good copper there to get to 1100 fire rate. But that's only one. And then I got to eliminate 5 players with the Volt pistol and pyro. The Bobs are going to hate that shit. The Bobs are going to hate that. So, yeah. These active things that is not... That's optional, though. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Good. But active things that are not involved in what you're doing. So if this ended up over here for whatever reason, thank God that's optional. I didn't notice that. Thank you, chat. I noticed it the day of, but I forgot. Like, I just didn't see it right now. And all you're doing is gaining research time with that one. That's the last thing you want to do to people because they just want to craft. They don't want to go PvP with the Volt pistol and pyro. They might just want to sell the weapon, right?
Would be collect resources, complete missions, or acquire research data.
I do not like it because there's not a logical reason why killing people would make research go faster. That's true, but also, and is totally valid feedback and should be said, but always keep in mind, they're just trying to give examples here, so it's probably not even real.
From the Science Guild.
But I do think you should say it just in case it is real, right?
Research is time intensive, in addition to the action requirements. It will take time for the research data bank.
You can input a data chip and a good one as well, because that has a quality, and you can lower your research time with a data chip.
To process your research data and unlock the upgrade. You are also limited in how many research projects you can pursue at once. Now that you have your blueprint.
Now, are you limited in how many research projects you could do at once per station, or are you limited overall per character?
And you decided what to craft.
I wonder.
You also know what resources to look for.
Yeah, and that's when alts start coming in.
Find...
I do not want Star Citizen to be an alt-heavy game. I do not like the idea of that at all. You want to do something the opposite of what Eve does. I know I say a lot of what Eve does that Star Citizen should do. It being an alt-heavy game is so cringe. I go to a mining op with my alliance, and one guy comes with literally 9 accounts and just scoops up everything. It sucks.
And will have unique requirements in their resource needs. It will not just be you need iron. We want to make use of the professions we have.
Yeah, like a criminal unlawful or lawful alt is, I think, is totally fine. It's the multi-boxing aspect of alts is what I mean.
To meaningfully involve them in the crafting process. Especially for the more advanced blueprints, you can expect that it will require materials from multiple sources. And
he's holding up like the Pimbantu fruit there. I'll move myself again, by the way. What I really hope, and we've seen some hints at this, is like crafting drugs and things like that. So taking the fruit and breaking it down to its components to make something useful would be interesting.
As already mentioned by Jacob, pay attention to the quality. If you want to have the perfect item, you also need the best quality. Here, the best way to find the best resources is to get out and explore the worst. If you want to find the best hidden materials, then you get yourself a top quality radar. Once you collect the raw materials, the next step is
radar coming into play.
Them. Refining, like
refining, again, pay attention to this. It is totally different.
Crafting requires blueprints. Refining
Flipped on its head.
Take primary, secondary, and catalyst materials. And
why would refining have 2 materials? I thought we refined quantanium into quantum fuel. Well, we do. But now it takes more than that.
Produce refined materials. The rule is very simple. The quality of the primary raw material defines
it's in the monthly reports
of the refined material. The secondary material you put in has an impact on the quantity and the time the refining process will take. An optional catalyst.
They might be overcomplicating a bit. Ah, yes. Adding depth to your game that has none, now being called overcomplicated. No, sir.
Can speed up the process further.
All right, this is really cool. I'm going to move over to the other side for this one. It's also not that complicated.
Give you a simple example. If you want high quality steel, you need to put in the best iron you have in the primary slot. You can put any quality coal in the secondary slot without affecting the quality of the steel.
Do you see what's on the screen here? Refining is crafting. Refining is taking iron and carbon and putting it together and making steel now. Instead of taking iron ore and making it iron, like we currently have in the game.
But the quality of the coal will influence how much of it you need to produce steel.
Pretty sick.
As an example.
And then they spelled molten flux wrong, I think. Molten, is that a thing?
If you put in low quality coal, you might require 4 SCU of coal versus high quality coal that only requires 2 SCU. This is one of the important use cases for low quality materials that Jacob mentioned. You can use refining stations in
what happened to inert material? I think it'll still be there. It's just dirt.
The world as they will be converted to this new process. You can build your own refineries for yourself. You can get your org to help you out. Or you can simply trade for the materials that you need on the open market. Now we are reaching the final step.
Yeah, makes refining more real.
You gathered resources and refined materials. Now you can create the item you want. And this item can be anything. You will be able to craft anything from FPS equipment to vehicle components, even entire vehicles and buildings. You just need access to the relevant crafting machine.
Yep. Woo!
Talking about crafting machines.
He just
we will
pops
have a
out a
variety
gun
for you that differ in what process they can support, like a refinery or a dedicated vehicle crafting machine. We will also find them in various places. There will be communal ones like the station refineries you already know, player-owned that can be in your personal hangar, a vehicle, or your base. As all that we have talked about just now, these crafting machines also come in tiers. Here, the tiers will affect how well those machines do their job. You will not only progress in the products you produce, but...
So that's where I think we might be going down a rabbit hole that is like insane, is where I need to make the highest tier crafting machine to make the highest tier crafting stuff. And it's like the layers on top of the layers on top of the layers. I love it, but I wonder how many people will.
But also in the infrastructure to produce your
Is it
wares.
too much?
Just to give you an
I
idea
think it's fine,
what you
just
will
to be clear.
encounter, here are some examples of the crafting machines.
I love it.
There is the
So this is the one that I got my eye on. So the one that's here is just the item fabricator that we just saw on the other screen. Chemical is interesting to me. Again, because yeah, these look like they'll be like a lot of catalysts, nutrition for food and stuff. It's pretty cool.
the nutrition fabricator, the chemical fabricator, an item fabricator, and even fabricators of a much larger scale
No ammo fabricator, probably the item one.
we'll talk about later.
Look in the background. Oh, I know. Fabrication hangar. And then, I mean, it's pretty obvious what these are. These are silos, right? Oh, I see somebody type Jumptonian Maze in chat. All of a sudden, Jumptown, even in its current state, becomes valuable. High quality maze instead of maze. They just bump the
Talking
quality.
about scale,
Boom.
I would like to talk about the future of crafting and the scale it will have in the game that you all know, and how it will change the game moving forward. As you all know, we have a lot of items in the game, and they all require their own unique blueprints. That means our aim is to have more than 1,000 blueprints that include the creation and the refining blueprints. And each of those can be researched to unlock tier upgrades up to tier 3 or tier 5.
Love it.
That's a lot of blueprints. And
It's
it will
a lot.
surely take a lot of time to unlock everything. So I, personally, recommend that you, as the crafter you are, focus on a specific field first and
They're creating a game. Yeah, like 3 people.
extend your knowledge from there. Collaborate and coordinate with your friends and fellow players. If you're part of a group, we invite you to share responsibilities with your org mates.
The rest of them are
Maybe
selling merchant
you
ships.
will be the FPS crafter while you're
By the way, I keep an eye out. I want you to really look at this box and soak this box in. Okay? And maybe this one. Because when I was in Pyro, I was finding some pretty special weapons in these boxes.
Your friend is
Soak
a ship
that in.
crafter, but they know a ship component crafter specialist.
The yellow interior
There's a lot of
weapon
content,
box.
and it will continue to grow over time. You are free to be a generalist crafter, a specialist, or something in between.
Basically, I think I found a tier 3 P4AR. And I think they're like faking it to make it a tier 3 for now.
Pick the blueprints you care about and be the best. Have an exotic shield generator that no one else has the blueprint for but you. Help others and earn credits while doing so. It is a real profession in the game that will benefit from your dedication and attention. As you can tell, crafting will have a huge impact on everything in the game.
I am
Even
so
if you do not want to
hyped.
get actively involved, at some point you will stumble over a weapon that got crafted by someone else and you will be using it. People will start selling their crafting goods or the refined materials or even the raw materials.
Where to place a ship fabricator, a secret base, maybe org base. The choice is yours. So it's not going to cost you any money to do it in Pyro, but you're running the risk of it getting blown up and you losing everything. And I'm sure they'll be costly to set up. Or you could put it in high sec and then you're paying insane taxes on it. So it's on you what you want to do.
Materials
Skrids,
for the
thank you.
sole purpose
Thank you so
of
much.
fulfilling the demand created by crafting. Players like you can become well-known specialists that are sought out to get certain things crafted from. With the
Am I hyped?
ever-expanding game
A
we
little
all
bit.
love, we will continuously expand our crafting to offer you long-term progression that involves the entirety of our game. And you might have guessed it already, but there's one more thing that crafting is the foundation of, and that is base building.
Woo! Morph likes it.
I will now hand over to Luke. Enjoy the second part of this presentation.
Henkin, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a great time at SitCon, dude.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
I'm catching up and trying to catch all the little fine details now.
Well,
Guys, shout out to Henkin.
good
Follow him if
morning,
you haven't yet.
citizens.
All right, base building time.
Who's excited to start talking about this next topic? Let's get into it. My name is Luc Gijsbertse. I'm the lead environment artist on base building structures. Now that we have an understanding of the fundamentals of crafting, thanks to Jacob and Thorsten, we can explore how crafting is the foundation of base building. Up until now, everything in the game we made for you.
Yeah, Kranzi was there.
From here on, we will give you the tools to build your own stories, your own homes, and truly make the universe yours.
Yeah, so up until this point, they have been making everything for us. But we had Ian's panel, which was like, oh yeah, I'm going to like 30x what we've made for you. So there's going to be a lot more of stuff made for us, but also giving us the option. So it's not like one or the other.
Join me.
Message of the day. We're currently putting together further client-server hotfixes for live. For the people who actually want to play 324.2 after watching this, I mean,
On a
don't you just
journey
want to wait for this?
on building our own habitable home on Pyro.
I enjoy, Hank. Be
Keep in
good,
mind
man.
that the following footage is work in progress, including its UI, design, and visuals. And we're super excited to share this with you. We found a beautiful location by a lake. This is where we'll build ourselves a home. To do so, we need some resources and the construction graph card. The construction graph card allows us to survey the land.
Do you know how I know this thing is never coming in? Because it's a trolley.
Claim the land in a lawful system, and it allows us to build structures. As we've already found the location and don't need to claim land in lawless Pyro, we can straight dive into building our base. Keep in mind, the following UI is work in progress.
I love it. It's such a... Keep it simple, smooth transition, nothing crazy. The one thing that I'm like slightly confused by is just the random boxes standing around. But how else do they do it, you know?
A survey drone that deploys from the top of the card gives us a controllable augmented view of the land. In the new structure mode, we'll pick a small basic structure and hit construct. For this demo, the construction will be instantaneous. But in the final product, this will take you quite some time.
Yeah, they disappear as the things are made, which is interesting. But they're not on any sort of structure or anything. Like, you're not storing them anywhere. You're just throwing them all over the place. It looks weird. It's like a super nitpicky, dumb, critical thing. Does not matter. Just, it's like visually unappealing to me. I would love to just have like a, what are they called in a lot of like RTS games? Like a stockpile? That's all. I'm just being stupid and weird about it. Don't mind me.
We've done it. We've built our first structure. Let's have a look on the inside. As we
What a
walk
view.
into the small basic structure, we see an empty interior that is dimly lit. It's up to us to define what we will use this space for. In our case, we will want to make it into a
where was this? I suspect the implication was construction process consumables, available materials in the area. Those are just scattered from how they were placed. Kind of like it, actually. All right. Now let me tell you how you're not going to like it. When they tell you that the quality of material you use determines the stats of the building that you make. So you want the game to just randomly decide which iron it takes and pulls into your refinery versus your bedroom? No, I think you want a UI and you want to choose exactly which materials are going in. Take it from somebody who's played fucking video games before, right? You should get to pick. It shouldn't just be random, all right?
home. We can see that the lights
I know
are
they
still
show
off,
later.
and that is a problem.
That's for the person
because
in
no
chat that
lights
doesn't
means
know
no atmosphere,
and thought it was a good idea.
No breathable atmosphere. So it's not ideal to live in. So how do we solve this issue? We can improve this by providing the building with power. Let's see if we can build something that helps us out. But before we dive into more building, let's take a quick moment to enjoy the freedom that the survey drone provides us with, and admire
the camera tool is
aesthetics
pretty
of our
powerful.
first structure. And I wonder what Declan was up doing there. Keep in mind that base building is still work in progress, but what you're seeing right now has been recorded directly in the client and works seamlessly between first person and the building mode. Okay, enough. Back to base building. In the list of new structures, we see a small fuel generator. That is something that could solve our problem, I think. Power providing structures need to be hooked up to other buildings inside construction ER mode, but we'll explain this later. The fuel generator is one of several structures that provides power, each with their own benefit and drawbacks.
All right.
Fuel power is quick and easy to build, but it requires a constant supply of fuel besides its regular maintenance. If a structure is not maintained, it will halt its activity. Players will need to maintain fuses to keep the building operational.
Oh my God, fuse systems.
The better crafted fuse, the longer it lasts. This is where the fuse goes on this building. Next up, we have a terminal that gives us access to the status of our building. And, more importantly, we get to activate it here.
Badass.
That should do it. Let's see if we got power in the building now. As you notice, some of the crates in the background have disappeared, as their content has been consumed.
I have to read this. I'm already in tears. I remember 2014 when all I had was my virginity, youth, and endless possibilities. Now I'm old. You still have all those things, but you also have Star Citizen 1.0. Finally, I can build a home soon.
During the construction process of the buildings. And it looks like Declan is now hooking up the power to the building. I wonder what he was up to earlier, though.
What was he doing? Oh.
Wow. Declan has been busy decorating
Designing.
the place. As we can see, the lights are now properly working. We got atmosphere, and we can start to use the item fabricator now that there is power. Always handy in case we need a fuse. Let's have a quick look at what we've done so far. We've decorated the place.
Excuse me.
We made it our own little home.
It's just placeholder
We
hooking
hooked
up
it up
power to something
with
actually
power.
happen. I think we see something in a little bit.
I would say we have a place that we can live
Also,
in.
you've added me 35 times in the last
It might not
hour.
be much, but I think it's just enough to call it a home. Thank you.
Good start. Good
Now that
start.
we have a rough understanding of how base building works, let's dive into some of the specifics of what we just saw. The construction graph card is one of 4 devices used for base building. The graph card is a...
This is interesting. One of 4 devices. 1, the graph cart. 2, the CSV. 3, the BLD. 4, the Pioneer. What happened to the Galaxy? Or is it 1, the grav cart, 2, a certain something on the CSV, a certain something in the BLD that can also go on the Galaxy, and the Pioneer?
mobile device that...
Yeah, is it just small, medium, large, and extra large drones? That's 4. So, could be that.
That you construct a variety
I think it's
of
just
small
drones.
structures. And has
So that's for the Galaxy people. I don't think they lied to you and said that it was going to build and now it's not.
been designed specifically to fit into the smallest ships, like the Drake cutter. The graph card allows us to survey the land, to find a good location, to claim the land with credits when we're all in a lawful system, like Stanton, and, most importantly, it lets us build structures. To use the graph card, we will first need to deploy it. Once deployed, we see 2 small construction drones inside the card, and the interactive screen gets revealed to us.
Okay.
From here, we can deploy the survey drone from the extended top part of the card. This survey drone gives us a bird's-eye view of the surrounding area using augmented reality mode, ER mode for short. Let's have a look at some UI concepts of how this augmented reality mode will look like. Here's a concept of construction ER. From here, we get a more detailed view of the land.
Very nice.
Where can and can't I settle? For an example, inside a nature reserve, construction will be prohibited. Are nearby areas flat enough to place my structures on? Are there
That's
any
pretty good
underground
quality stuff
extraction
there.
deposits nearby? And if so, what are their quality and quantity?
Now I'll do I have it up? Declan came on and said that, yeah, it's very obviously a limited amount. I think it tells you right there that you will run out of material, and even in underground deposits would be the word.
Let's say we found a good place to start building our base. Then next up, we need to find a good place for our first structure. On the left-hand side, we can see that we're now in structure creation mode. Underneath that, there is a...
And here you go. Here's my conversation from earlier. You have a solid extractor, you have a liquid extractor, and you have a gas extractor. Okay? So that's where the word solid came from. It wasn't a like a term describing the aluminum as solid aluminum or shiny aluminum or anything like that.
list of structures that we can build.
It just
Once you
aluminum
have chosen
is
a structure,
a solid.
you'll drag it onto the terrain, shown,
It's their
that will be
state.
shown then as a physicalized hologram. From here, you can move and rotate.
All the extractors have a blueprint tier logo on them. They do. And there's a 4 on some of these. So I guess ships aren't the only thing that go up to 5. Or they're just throwing random numbers on there, which is probably what they're doing. Yep, and weekly tax is top right. Is anyone surprised? So weekly tax won't apply in a place like Pyro, but it will in a place like Stanton, right? I don't think anybody's surprised there, are you?
To find the perfect position for your structure. Now that we have
They gotta
chosen
have money
the
sinks,
position for our structure, we will need to supply it with crafting materials. Just like the crafting interface that we saw earlier, this is where you choose the materials, and the better materials you choose will result in a better structure.
Yep, and this is the difference between the ship randomly appearing and then me actually choosing the types of and quality of material that I wanted to use in order to make the structure that I wanted to make. Like earlier, we just saw them disappearing and it looked like it was random. Yep, yeah, there's the building going from 1 to 5. right? And it's a pretty big difference. 0 water resistance up to 17%. I guess it's not that much when you think about it, but there you go.
Once you're ready, we'll hit the craft.
QG, quasi-grazer, tallow, diamond laminate. So there's all sorts of interesting things going on here.
On the right bottom, to send the construction drones printing to the buildings. The automated construction drones will take off from the construction graph card and fly to nearby resources to fill their internal storage and then fly over to the construction site to print the building until their internal storage has been depleted. The construction drone then repeats the loop by filling its internal storage again by nearby resources. Printing buildings will take some time.
Water? Oh no, that says water requirement. That's wear resistance. My bad.
Keep the construction supplied so that you don't delay the process any further.
Can't read.
Let's say our building did just finish printing. Then what? Then we need power. We need to power the building. All structures will have a unpowered and a powered state that we can manage
so here's their,
inside the
power
resource
UI.
manager. To provide structures with power, we can easily link generators to structures that need power in the resource management menu within Construction ER.
It does.
We can also link
on-rig.
multiple buildings together.
Or Hilton, excuse me.
And we can assess the power consumption and shortage of inside this resource management screen. Keep in mind that operational structures, like power generators, require maintenance of their fuses and sometimes need supplies coming in and going out to be managed. Now that we have a structure and power, what can we do next? Then we can actually upgrade our structure. Structures can be upgraded.
And look at this. There's a new material called Durasteel that we didn't know. Now there's bioplastic, network enhancement, Alespo.
From tier 1 till tier 3. The better material you provide,
there's a shield
the
menu? Of
better
course
the
there
improvement will be. Just like Jacob and Thorsten explained in the crafting presentation.
Durasteel was in Wing Commander as well.
Tier upgrades can, for example, improve the structural integrity of the building.
Yeah, Electrium on the right.
Make its resource consumption more efficient. To really make your base feel like home, you will want to decorate your base with a wide variety of furniture pieces that can be bought, crafted, and found in the universe.
I'm obsessed with the location they found.
It's up to you to define what you want this space to be. Do you want to decorate it as a hospital? Do you want to make it into a workshop? Do you want to make it into a luxurious bedroom?
Understanding, we got about 20 minutes left on the demo.
Furniture can easily be placed and moved using decorative ER mode as a hologram.
In case you're like, holy crap, this is going on
This
forever.
is so your furniture can
it's
easily
already
fit
an
through
hour-long
doors.
React.
This feature is accessible through nearby construction devices, allowing you to place down furniture pieces or
I found the
even
monetization,
crafting
boys.
machines that otherwise wouldn't fit through the door. And you get to place them directly from your local inventory. The less trusted among you, or anyone settling in Pyro for that matter, may want to mag-lock their furniture into place so that only you and your friends get to rearrange your decorations. And best of all, decorative ER is not exclusive to base building and can also be used for personal hangars and ships.
So they decided that physicalize and moving things around physically just ain't gonna do it. Yet, I can't do that with my cargo boxes. Interesting. Bullshit.
To recap, what are the essentials for any base? 1. Come prepared, bring the right resources and a construction device with you. 2. Use the resource manager, power generators to make your base habitable and functional. And maintain your base with resources and by replacing out worn fuses. And 3. Personalize your base, personal hangar and ship with decorative ER. And there we have it, our home in Paro. Now that we have an understanding of the basics of base building, we'll explore how you can go and make more than just a home. But before I hand you over to Declan, the designer behind base building, I'd like to say a quick thank you for those who made this presentation possible. So a quick thank you to Eddie, Brandon, Jack, Dan, Mark, Xiao, Stefan C, Dom, Stefan T, Carl,
W's.
Joel, and Rob for your efforts and dedication. Now give me a warm welcome for Declan.
Nice one, James. All right, thank you, Luke. Good morning, everyone. Morning. My name is Dec. I am the system designer behind crafting and base building, and we've just seen a nice little base, right? That's good for cabin in the woods. Maybe you want to place it down next to big redwoods, go and explore, or a place to stash some loot you perhaps shouldn't have.
This is when it gets pretty
do you want to see a
crazy.
big base?
So this is when things start to go off the rails a little bit, to the point where I'm not sure. Very similar to the space station stuff. It's when it gets a little wild, a little off the rails, a little crazy, into fantasy land where we don't know if we can achieve this stuff or not, and they're just trying to sell a dream kind of thing, right? But it's a very cool dream.
Good, because we're going to industrialize. So we're going to set ourselves a goal before we do a video, and we're going to create a base that's capable of crafting something that's bigger than the item fabricator can handle. There's been a bit of a spoiler already as to what it's going to be.
A ship.
So to kick us off, called in help of a friend who has a specialized, not yet revealed base building vehicle, and he's built us this. It is the construction hub. This has 4 automated drones compared to the GravCart's 2. They can build small, medium, and large buildings. So far, we've only seen small.
This thing seems like such a waste
Automated
of space.
drones are capable of building 1 structure each simultaneously, so 4 is quite a big advantage. We'll pop into our construction AR and we'll get down a generator, we'll connect some buildings together just so we have a place to call home before we begin.
Keep in mind that it changes the ground quite a bit, like removes rocks and
All right,
stuff.
there we go.
When you put it
So
down,
we've
it's pretty cool.
settled on one of the brand new underground resource deposits, and we're about to exploit it using this. It is our extractors.
That's so big.
This particular one is a large, solid extractor. We'll also have liquid and gas, depending on which type of deposit that you settle
So
on.
big.
We have our output grid here, where we're
Yeah, it
getting all
levels
the
the
brand
area
new
around it.
resources up out the ground.
What prevents someone from ramming this in an Idris? In high sec, you can't do it. In low sec, you got to take down the defenses. And in null sec, you can.
And it is important to note that once these things are set up, it's not a case of just free resources forever. On key structures like this, there are fuses which will occasionally need replaced.
Defcon, watch
as well
the
as
video.
environmental wear which can be fixed using crafting materials.
Let the man cook. Nobody's walking this slow, by the way. Badass.
All right, now we want to turn those raw
Sound
resources
everything.
into more valuable refined materials. We
And there, if Sharp is still here, there's your refineries right here. They talk a lot
saw
about
the
it.
process talked about earlier with
Well,
Thorsten.
not a lot, but
Of course, we want this. It is our refinery. Once again, there are multiple types here. This one is the large solid matter refinery. We have liquid and gas again, as well as biological, depending on the type of materials that you're using and want to produce. Refinery has input and output grids. For input, as you might expect, it's for the resources which you're going to consume, and then the output is for the resulting refined goods. This is a terminal where you'd select which blueprint you want to use, and therefore which type of refining method you want.
That's right. I forgot. It's not just insert material and refine. It's the blueprint and insert multiple materials and refine. This is so exciting.
A lot of crates here with our extractor and our refinery, so we're going to put down our elevator storage.
There you can see how we'll go back and just see it real quick, how much it leveled the ground. Watch.
Elevator storage.
It even removes that thing there. Bam.
Base is really starting to build up now.
Jake, community manager from CIG, goes, "How we feeling? How's everybody feeling? Give a out of 10 number." I will still say somewhere mid, somewhere middle. Everything on paper sounds 10 out of 10, but I gotta see it. I gotta see it.
Now, but it's worth me mentioning again here that whilst we're putting these buildings down instantly in this video,
if this
large
comes just like this, 10 out of 10.
They will take some time with the automated construction
But we
drones.
know that's not how it goes.
But the smaller scale base we saw in the previous video, that can be done in a single play session.
This is cool. I think this is really smart. And they understood.
We'll just keep on putting down more extractors because we want as much as that valuable resource out of the ground as quick as possible. And with base building, we're introducing the concept of a freight elevator network.
Yeah,
What this will allow you to do is it will allow you to link multiple freight elevators together, and in turn, they will share the same storage.
All right, so this is how you know everything's fake, by the way, guys, or something like on some weird level. Have you noticed that there has been no cargo snapping at all in any demo at all? Why is that?
So as we're doing here,
Is that just some bug that broke?
we'll deposit an item on freight elevator A. And then we're retrieving it on freight elevator
There was?
B.
Okay, I
There
just
is a
didn't notice
distance
it.
limit, but you can daisy chain the elevators together to extend that. And it has to all be contained within the same base.
My cargo didn't snap to the grid last night in the PU. Oh my God, they're playing on live. It's real. That means this is real. It's live.
Now, as we expand, we might want to invite more people to join us. This is easy to do. There will be permissions that we can set up, granting people access to our base, and they can even build their own structures if they wish.
Yeah.
We can also give them access to existing structures, which is how you can form your org storage using those freight elevators.
It's the whole org storage thing. Thunderhawk, thank you so much. The whole org storage thing is a bit dicey. Like, who's just gonna open their storage to your entire guild? You're not going to, right? So, org storage, I feel, is gonna be like all the crap that no one wants, and you could just grab and go kind of thing. And then you're the actual org storage, permission wise, is gonna be only your most trusted people. You know. Guild banks work in WoW, similar concept. As someone who's never played WoW, what's a guild bank look like? How does it play? I'll keep playing the video and I'll come back when somebody gives a nice description of it.
Now, we always want a safe place to store our ships, so the trusty hangar will do.
This scene was wild.
See, it has this large, we call it a foundation tile. It's quite special.
Okay, you can set permissions on specific sections of the bank. And only officers get access to all of it, but it's shared. Oh, okay. I wonder if you can get it so people can deposit but not remove. That's pretty cool.
And it can actually deform the terrain around it, making it easy to place such a huge structure like this. You can also place other buildings on it, so it's easy for making large, sprawling bases. However, there is one final piece of the puzzle that we need to achieve our goal, and it is this, our very own fabrication hangar. Does anyone want to guess what we're going to build in a fabrication hangar?
Ship.
An Idris, maybe not an Idris.
Hold on, let me take my vehicle. I totally didn't need to drive over here.
Around, we'll go to the entrance and we'll see what's in store for us.
Is Avenger here? Look at how fast those ships are going. Yeah, they just took Master Modes out. Master Modes is off on all industry ships.
Looks like whatever it is, it's just about
What's
finished
up, Avenger?
drafting. Of course, we were going to build ourselves.
We should talk about a guild hangar feature. Well, I got news for you. There's hangars that you could build. So I imagine you can give permissions to the people in those hangars. What I wonder is how the ASOPs are going to work in the future. We'll see.
So, quick recaps of the gains from industrializing. We've tapped into the brand new resources and we've made use of them by turning into the more valuable refined materials. We've introduced freight elevator networks, which are great for logistics and hauling. And then we've created our fabrication hangar, which is our
not today,
big
Avenger.
valuable items such as ships. Now, ships are valuable.
As soon as it's done,
you
I'm
can,
going to
you can
sleep.
fly them, you can play content with them. But because they are a crafted item, they can also be sold to other players. So, with base building, you're going to be able to set up your own shops, and there's two main ways you can do this. The first is using a dedicated trading terminal. You can link these to your freight elevators, and in turn, any items within can be listed for sale at a price you deem reasonable. This includes resources, refined materials, and so on.
I need to listen to this again. This is the part that I said I want to really focus on.
Ships. Now, ships are valuable because you can, of course, you can fly them, you can play content with them, but because they are a crafted item, they can also be sold to other players. So, with base building, you're going to be able to set up your own shops, and there's two main ways you can do this. The first is using a dedicated trading terminal. You can link these to your freight elevators, and in turn, any items within can be listed for sale at a price you deem reasonable. This includes resources, refined materials, and so on.
Okay. How do people know it's there?
Using the terminal, visiting players can browse what's on offer, purchase, and then collect from that same freight elevator.
Only visiting players. I don't like this.
Second method is to set up a physical shop in the world. By using the decorator AR we saw earlier with Luke, you can maglock items and then list them for sale. Once again, browsing players, they can see the price of the maglocked item, purchase it, which then removes the maglock.
Yeah, that's very Star Wars Galaxies and Ultima Online. How do you find out where that stuff is? Now, they could be doing this for a reason. You ready? The best locations in Ultima Online, and I'm assuming Star Wars Galaxies, which I never played, is near the biggest hubs. Like right outside Lorville, right outside Area 18, right outside Microtech. Being close by will be good. But again, I'm going to let him cook in here because this is the one thing I never really heard him say any of this stuff. Like we might have been talking, me and Level might have been talking, and I just never heard it. There's no Mobiglass app that we know of right now.
Physical shops is you can genuinely make it feel like a store. You can put items on shelving. You can even go as far as to make your own ship showroom. You can
always advertise your location in chat. Easy. All right. No. So here's why no. And here's why no, 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 no. Is because all of these things take hours to set up. Right? And hours. You want to just put it up for sale and have it be sold. You want it to sell when you're offline. What things? You're going to be able to craft everything. So you got to build the base. You got to do this. There's research. There's that. Everything is being done and it takes time. So you want your stuff to be able to sit in a place that can be sold, right? Yeah, I know he explains later, but people are asking why, so I answered, dude.
Advertise your wares on a Mobiglass app for UEC. However, it is important to know that
we're
the
going
point
back
of
and
purchase
forth.
will always occur at the base itself. Now that we know how to set up shop, I just want to take a moment to talk about why it's so impactful for crafting and base building the game as a whole. Understandably, throughout this presentation, we've been telling you why you want to craft all these things or why you want to build this big base.
He just said it? Fuck, that's the second time I've missed it.
Shelving, you could even go as far as to make your own ship showroom. You can advertise your wares on a Mobiglass app for UEC. However, it is important to note that the point of purchase will always occur at the base itself.
Okay, so there's a Mobiglass app that we haven't seen yet. That's what it is. Good.
Now that we know how to set up shop, I just want to take a moment to talk about why it's so impactful for crafting and base building the game as a whole. Understandably, throughout this presentation, we've been telling you why you want to craft all these things or why you want to build this big base. But maybe you don't have the time to build a big base and maintain it. Maybe you want to spend your time...
Real money paid ads? No. What I hope it is not ads at all. What I hope it is you could purchase it. I know he didn't say that. He said the purchase is done at the location. I don't like that at all. I like the idea of being able to purchase it not at the location, but pick it up at the location. So the purchase is made remotely. It's all digital, right? I go in, like, please tell me that in the year 2954 that I have to go all the way to China to get my mouse pad that I bought from China. No. I buy it and then it gets delivered to me. Now, if you want me to physically go to the location and pick it up, that's fine. I should be able to buy it via Mobiglass and then go pick it up. Or I should be able to create a contract for my friends or other people to deliver it to me. Jake just gave a response. Good shout. Might still be able to do it via the Mobiglass, at least within the system ad hoc. I'll pass it along. Please do. Yep. And feel free to make a Spectrum post or whatever about it. I think people would want to know that one. I think that one's pretty big. That's how it is in EVE Online. Yes, but EVE Online has skills that allow you to see further away, sell further away, buy further away than being just in the location. So your initial skills only let you sell from and buy from inside the station, and then it gradually grows. Star Citizen doesn't have skills, so I get what Declan's trying to do here is try to physicalize things as much as possible, or at least what he's trying to say. I don't know how much of it is him actually doing it in other members of the team and so on, right? But he's the one on stage. So I get what they're trying to go for here, but I at least want to be able to, hey, I see that copper, I want that copper, I have the money. I mean, bro, it's all digital. What are we doing here, right? If I'm in system, I think it should be fine. If I'm out of system, I probably shouldn't even see it as an option on my Mobiglass anyway, or it be advertised to me, right?
The missions, you want to do your beacons, that's how you want.
Why not both? Obviously, if I'm able to buy it remotely, I'd be able to buy it in person. Why even say why not both? Are you just trying to meme?
To make your
Obviously,
credits instead.
Of course.
Shops mean that you can benefit from the players who do want to spend the time making those bases.
But you have to travel to get it. Yes, or you can create a contract for someone to pick it up for you, which I hope is something that we can do.
Or crafting
Monstrous,
those
thank you so
items,
much, Judge. Appreciate it, dude. For 1 year, too. Thank you.
Which is very important because crafted items using high-quality materials will be the most powerful in the game. On the flip side, if you do specialize, maybe you end up cornering the markets for a particular item or resource, and your shop will then turn into a hotspot of activity, making you loads of credits. Some of you will become infamous because of it.
There's such a missed opportunity here. There's too much main character syndrome going on here for me. I really don't like this at all, actually. And there's a really good opportunity, I think, because he hits on something. You ready? Let's go back just a tiny bit.
Infamous because of it, making you loads of credits. More resource, and your shop will then turn into a hotspot of activity, making you loads of credits.
Your shop will become a hotspot of activity, making you loads of credits. Just my shop, by myself. My own. Maybe my guilds or my orgs. That's it. I don't know if... what if I placed a building down that everyone can sell from? Or many people can sell from. Or I can rent locations that people can sell from. We're all imagining here. These are concept art images. None of this is real. Like a farmer's market. Who says you can't? I haven't heard them say we can. Right? So what I'm saying is I don't want to be infamous or famous as an individual. I want the location to be famous. Everybody knows the best stuff is here, wherever, right? So people are coming and going from this base constantly, buying and selling from there, and people want to be able to buy and sell their wares at these locations, right? I think that stuff should be done at the cities, but that's me.
Some of you will become infamous because of it. But bear in mind, a successful shop also depends on location. Do you want your customers on edge in Pyro, which tends to have the higher quality materials? Or do you want to spend time hauling them all the way over to safer systems where your customers can be more at peace?
Who the fuck would have a shop in Pyro?
We talked about selling items like
that
sell
seems
the look of your
insane.
base. We have foundation tiles, which can help you divide up the foundation decals, sorry, which help you divide up the foundation tile. You can place them freely wherever you want, and they just help you mark up areas like, I want to use this place for cargo, I want this for housing, vehicles, and so on. You'll be able
no
to
empire
earn paint
tax,
in
yeah.
game and apply them to buildings.
All these dads are fucking clapping for the paint changing when they don't realize that it's $20 to change your paint on that ship. How much is it going to be to change the paint on that hangar, dude? I think I'm moving all my Pyro stuff out of system and selling it in Stanton.
The blue buildings that have your name are definitely yours.
Gindo, thank you.
We have some forms of base building which are either still in the design phase
thank you so much.
or early white box, but we want to share some details. First up, we have farming and ranching. Farming, it comes in two general types. We have our low-tech farming and then high-tech. Low-tech consists of you acquiring the seeds, planting them in the appropriate environment. If you remember back to yesterday, the Brave New Worlds, we had soil types and such now. That'll play a part. As well as supplying them with nutrients and then just harvesting them when they're grown. High-tech, it's a bit more involved because you've got to make the hydroponic buildings we see here, but in return, you'll be able to grow exclusive strains of plants.
We'll see what happens with this. This all seems very concept-y still.
Ranching will allow you to keep herds of animals. You'll have to provide them with feed, water, and shelter, but in return, they will provide you with produce. Not every animal can be ranched. I don't really see a sandworm ranch anytime soon, but the quasi-grazer will, of course, will. Not yet. Maybe. No. We have a few more additional archetypes. We have landing pads, garages, roads, fencing,
Look at this base,
as well
dude.
as new variants of structures which you've seen today. For instance, the power generator, there'll be solar power, fusion, geothermal, as well as the XL structure class. So if you remember, everything we've seen today, the biggest we've seen today, rather, is large. XL is larger than large. And then you have your defense.
Morph likes it.
So, in lawful areas, you have varying levels of security provided for you. With max security, you are protected by planetary shield tech. However, in lawless, pyro and the likes, you'll have to provide your own defenses. These come in the form of perimeter walls, shielding, which prevents aerial bombardments, and then a range of automated turrets, such as PDC to shoot down missiles, anti-air, anti-vehicle, and anti-personnel. To round up, whilst we spent this entire time talking about how you can expand a single base, you can, of course, have multiple. These can be across a single planet, moons, across multiple systems. There are advantages and disadvantages of locations and base types. For example, in lawful areas, you'll need to buy your land for UEC, pay a tax to be able to build, and then you'll gain protection in return. In lawless, no cost. Higher chance of better quality materials, but no security to fall back on.
Yep. We'll see how this
goes. A small cabin in the woods can be great to set up in a single play session with short build times. However, the large base we just saw will take days, weeks, or even months, depending on how big you want to go. You might want to embark on this endeavor as a team or an org. You can set up a base as an org and own it as the org. For this, there'll be permissions available, and you can assign roles and tasks.
What about road CIG? They can connect all those areas. That's like 500 kilometers, dude. Just fly a spaceship.
Ultimately,
what's wrong with you?
Base building can be your main gameplay
Just
loop,
quantum
or a
travel there.
one, depending on what it is that you value.
You don't need roads anymore.
On that final note, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the crafting and base building teams. We've been very excited
it's
to
probably
share
more
with you
than
some of the work
500
so far and the vision we have for these systems. But before we go, we have one final video.
This video is so sick. This video plays in has been playing in my dreams for 12 years, and they somehow managed to bring it to life. And boom. Just a whole salvage base. It's a shame this is all bullshit. Yeah, it is. But we could dream a little bit. They didn't mention respawns at base. There was a couple medical facilities.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you especially to Kian and Zheng Shui. They worked very hard on this, and you might see that base again later today. So stick around. Thank you.
He just walks off like, yep. I just made this company $1 billion.
Hello, Citizencon.
So insane. He just walks off like he owns the place too. This is funny. Oh, and this is the the interview where Torsten was like, "Yes, as I said in the interview," and he's already like, "As I said." But yeah, that is that's the game changer for me. That's the thing I was waiting for. Everything that was said there was pretty much exactly what I wanted for the most part. And I think tomorrow we'll watch the 1.0 panel. When you tie what we saw in today to what we learn about in Pyro 1.0, the whole shield system, the shield defense system thing, it all starts to tie together and make a whole lot of sense for competing orgs and all that stuff. And Jake says should be getting the isolated panels up soon. Awesome. Because yeah, they're so good and finding them isolated is difficult. I did it myself a little bit, but you guys have it so much cleaner when you do it that way. So anyway, yeah, I don't have much more to say. How long is this react? An hour and a half? I think that's long enough. Crafting is what I'm going to be spending my time doing if it comes in game this way. That's for sure. I know what I'm going to be doing in the game. I know what Star Citizen is going to be or wants to be, I should say. We don't know what it's going to be, but wants to be. And I like what it wants to be. And I want to play what it wants to be. I don't want to play it right now, but I want to play what it wants to be. So we'll see what happens. Jake is here. I've told this to Jake privately, but everything's kind of on you now, man. Right? Like, it's obviously on the developers to make this stuff work. But now it all comes down to timelines, communication. When, right? Jake's the when guy. Jake does the roadmap. So I think he was typing in our Discord a little bit, sharing some info there, and he's got some ideas, and hopefully the when is not a forever wait, but I think we know it's going to be a while, so. Jake's the one who answers the when questions for us. So fingers crossed that he's able to do that new roadmap stuff and tech and all that jazz and that we heard about not too long ago. And fingers crossed it's not too rough of an experience from here on out. We know it's going to be rough. Just hopefully it's not too rough. So yeah. I just want to know more recipes than a Volt pistol. Anyone else?